Hello, my name is Ezra Kotovsky. I am one of the Yank boys, and this is our final project. We made a audio sampler, and I am responsible for these three parts: the audio trimmer, the 3x3 audio sampler grid, and the time versus amps graph. All right, I'm going to start by loading an audio file into audio sampler 1. When I press load 1, it automatically opens the file app using the UI get function, UI get file, as long as it says load 1. That is using a string comp function. After it's been loaded, it will display play 1. When I click play 1, beautiful. It automatically plays and graphs the audio file currently being played. If I want to trim this audio file, I can go over, make sure that audio 1 is selected, and drag these bounds. I can effectively shorten both sides. So now it's only going to play basically like this 70% to 73% region. So now when I click play, super short. I can also press this little widget in the bottom right corner of play 1 to reset audio 1. All right. And now for our next part. Actually, I'm just going to cover my code really quick. It's using if loops for most of this, using basically checking that whatever's being displayed, if it says play 1, it will play. If it says stop 1, it will wait until the audio sample is over using the stop function, and then it will display play 1 again. I'm also using this this function to graph the time versus amps. And the reset buttons are just using also basically if string comp functions and the menu system. All right.
Hello, my name is Derick Freitas. I'm responsible for the audio effects. So let me pull up my function here. So beginning with the play button, my play button is calling to whatever files loaded on Ezra's load buttons. So let's go ahead and load an audio file here. All right, so the play button corresponds, it checks whichever selected, checks if it's true, and then plays whatever is loaded. So let's say we don't have something loaded in 2. If we hit play, it says no audio selected. Go back to 1, we'll play, and we'll play our audio. So starting with the effects, we have a simple volume effect. It just takes the audio data from the file path and just multiplies that array by whatever factor. So 200%, let's do 2 times volume. We play. And we can do 400. And let's go real quiet. We can do like 10%. Nice. Similar to the volume, we have speed. So it's doing a similar thing. It just takes whatever factor and it's multiplying the sample rate instead. So we can speed up the audio by multiplying the sample rate, essentially doubling the speed. You can slow it too. Nice. All right. Next we have the reverse forward. So when forward is on by default, and so when we turn it off, which I want to be reverse left, so we flip up down the array with the flip UD function, and so just flips our audio file, and you can see it update. Let's go back to normal volume and speed. Nice. All right, onto the post modulation effect. We have delay. So delay is taking the is just taking the array and layering it and offsetting it by whatever the delay time is, and then the delay repeats is how many layers we're choosing. So let's do 200 offset, 200 millisecond offset, and then 2 repeats. So let's go back to forward. Grooving. All right. Yeah. onto the modulation effect, tremolo. So tremolo is basically taking the array and it's putting it into a sine function that has the amplitude, which is the depth, which is the second knob, and then the frequency, which is the rate of that amplitude. And so by doing that, we get this volume kind of modulating effect. So let's do a rate of 4 and then 40% depth. Let's do a rate of 5. Yeah, that was definitely my favorite. All right. Um, after tremolo, we have EQ. So EQ, I set the bounds for the low cut 200 hertz and bottom for 5,000 hertz, and so um, and then as any good EQ should have, I converted it to decibels, and so was converted to decibels, and then I have my ranges for low, mid, and high. I turn it into Fourier transform. I use the Fourier transform function of audio data, and then basically convert it from time to frequency, so I could split everything up into its separate frequencies. Then I multiplied that, and then basically inverse Fourier to bring it back from frequency to time, and then we could play with. Let's just play some highs, and then as an example. So now we just have highs, and then I'll do lows real quick. All right. Now it's all bass. Cool. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, I'm Graham Martin. I was responsible for this right side of the audio sampler. So first off, in the top right, you see we have 6 different waveform presets. So we're going to start with sine here. Let's just make any number of notes. This is just a simple chord. As you can see, it plays a sine wave function. We've got square, tine, a wah function, fade in, and then a fade out. We can also adjust the octave of this function. So let's pick tine. We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, and then way down low, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these waveforms are mathematically pure tones. The way I created them is with mathematical functions. So I use this FM as kind of a constant multiple to get the right frequency and to have the correct octave. That's the octave toggler app right there. And then so sine was a sine function. Square, I rounded a sine function. For the wah sound and the tine sound, I used this sine function to create osculating function. And then for the tine, I used an exponentially decreasing function. And then the fade in, I used an exponentially increasing function. And then fade out, I used an exponentially decreasing function. So that's how all of those work. The last operation I've got over here is this save button. So I can save to, let's say, the number 2. It pops up right there. So now we can edit this by selecting number 2 up here, right? So when you change the speed, it will change the, as you can hear, it changes the volume and stuff, and it changes the pitch. And I don't really want to change the pitch, so I created this reset button in the top there. That resets everything. So now it's back to normal. And then we can apply whatever edits we want. One of the coolest ones is adding a tremolo on top of the wah function, which creates some really interesting rhythms. And there's just endless possibilities to choose from. So yeah, that's really interesting. And then the last kind of reach element I add is this dark mode. It keeps everything the same, just makes it in dark mode. And then that's about it for our project. Thank you for listening. This is the Yank Boys signing out.